If you were to go face to face with an ET, they would tell you that they are not gods, they are as mortal as you and I. Now, their lifespan is much longer than that of ours. I was afraid to ask how they felt about God. Personal tragedy went ahead and made it to where I did ask. They were shocked that I never did ask before. Then I get to see what they really looked like. That was the first time I saw the entity I call Corona up close and personal. Some of the people in Congress already know that we do have visitors here. However, it's politically sensitive. The U.S. government wants to go ahead and keep low key on anything that may have advanced technology involved, just so they will have the advanced technology above and beyond those of other countries. Also, we are not certain how people are going to react once we tell them that there's other living beings out there in space, and they are already coming here. Everybody says that we can deal with it, but we aren't sure of that. Now, given that we want to keep a lot of things secret in the interest of giving us a militarily technological edge in any future wars, that's not justification to keep this information under wraps. We have had people, I know of cases, where people have killed themselves, lost their families, lost their jobs, and we're wrong in doing that.
Yes, we are wrong in doing that. I would agree with you.
So that's the reason I feel the truth has to, but it has to be done responsibly.
You know, that said, first of all, you have one of the largest archives of original documents and copy documents both on the subject of UFOs and ET.
Yes, ma'am.
Not just technologies, but what shall we say, visitations and so forth. So you have quite a lot to draw on a personal level. Now, one of the areas that was mentioned by one of your colleagues yesterday, by Bob Dean, was that the scramble for bucks in Congress, the whole budgetary issue, really seems to be at the crux of why a lot of this information hasn't been released, with one committee struggling to get dollars for their particular agenda and another for another. And this is such a controversial topic that no one wants to jeopardize their budgets to pursue anything in earnest here. Is that your take on it too, or?
Oh yes, ma'am. Man is greedy. Man will go ahead and put dollars ahead of common sense. Common sense dictates that if there is a phenomenon out there that is going to have an impact on all world life, on the world itself, then we should put those dollars in trying to investigate and understand what's going on. A lot of times within the UFO field, people will bring messages of doom and gloom. This scares people, and it's the wrong thing to do. What I want to do is breathe a breath of fresh air into the subject. What I want my message to be is of hope and prosperity and a brighter future. And I don't think we have anything to fear from open contact. The only thing we have to fear is ourselves.
If these advanced civilizations, who some say have been here as long as we have, as humans, have always been here in various places inside the Earth, phased off in frequencies just a tad, if they wanted to do something of an aggressive nature, they would have done so long ago. So on one hand, you're saying that they're saying that we've been allowed to continue to develop relatively in peace. Then you hear the other side of the agenda, which is, yes, except certain factions of them have indeed tried to control us through hidden and subtle means. Where do you fall in that whole mix?
Well, let's look at it this way. Not one person can show me where there's been open aggression from our visitors. In each and every case where there's been aggression, it's been initiated by our own kind. The Soviet Union has lost better than 36 aircraft trying to shoot UFOs down just because there were UFOs that violated their airspace. They knew they were exhibiting advanced technologies. I also feel that the powers that be knew that they were not of this world, but they were hoping to shoot it down, regardless of loss of life, in order to acquire the technology involved. The other cases, a good one is 1955, I can't say it, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. A farm family there was confronted by little creatures, about 3.5 foot tall. They immediately got guns and started to shoot at them.
That's the American way.
Well, that's the human way.
I know, it's true. It's very sad.
We respond with fear at anything that is unknown. If we have that fear, then our conduct towards that of the unknown has always been hostility. What we need to do is get to the point where we overcome our fear of the unknown, face it head on, and try to understand logically why that unknown stimulus is occurring. For example, I personally know, their agenda here is purely scientific. It's not for world conquest. Should it be for world conquest, they could have took us over many millennia ago, and we would be worshiping them today as gods. If you were to go face to face with an ET, they would tell you that they are not gods, they are as mortal as you and I. Now, their lifespan is much longer than that of ours. But here again, we someday will achieve that also. Now, they're not here to interfere with our growth. I don't like the term evolutionary growth, because I believe in God, but if God chose to have us come about as a result of evolution, so be it. That doesn't take God out of the equation. It just explains how God did his handiwork. Science and God goes hand in hand. On a personal level, which I really don't want to go into, I was afraid to ask how they felt about God. Personal tragedy went ahead and made it to where I did ask. They were shocked that I never did ask before.
When you say they, clarify who they are.
They being our visitors.
Yes.
I was always afraid to ask. And when they said, "Why haven't you asked this before?" I said, I was afraid to ask because I was afraid of the answer I'd get. It involved the death of my son. So, I thought, darn, if there's no life after this life, what a terrible joke. Life has no purpose. If you take God out of the equation, life has no purpose. We're nothing more than amoebas infecting this rock called planet Earth. But we're much more than that.
And what was their answer?
Their answer was, we can't tell you what religion is true and correct, for religions are made by men, even within our own society, meaning theirs. All we can do is tell you that we accept life after death from a scientific perspective, because our science has proved it. Your science is closely approaching that threshold. You will someday learn that which you call God exists, but we can't tell you who or what God is. When I was a child, a lot of things took place. I started, like I had playmates that no one else could see. And I was told by them, no one else can see us.
Right.
It wouldn't be until I killed a little bird trying to help it that I'd get to see what they really looked like. That was the first time I saw the entity I call Corona up close and personal. And there was an expression on his face, one of wonder. I mean, he didn't understand. And what he was telling me is, why do I feel what I'm feeling? He meant, why do I feel what I'm feeling? Because he didn't understand why I was feeling what I was feeling over killing that little bird. But anything I felt, my entity felt. He knew exactly what I was feeling, what I was thinking. And this is a learning process for them. But once they attach you for that learning process, attach to you rather for that learning process, they are there forever. They never leave. So it's a lifelong process. So yes, I'll tell you right now, it's ongoing. But I don't pick or choose the time and place. The end result was when I first saw my first UFO. That was in the summer of 1957. I was soon visited by a person who identified himself as a Captain Brown. Where I lived on the corner of where I lived.
This is in terrestrial form.
Yes.
Captain Brown
Yes.
was a real person.
Was a real
Yes.
person.
Mm-hmm.
United States Air Force. There was a pharmacy known as Coleman Drug Store. A book came out, a magazine, put out by True Magazine, and it was entitled Facts About UFOs or something like that. Anyhow, it was just about, UFOs. Well, True Magazine is identified as a men's magazine. So being about 8 years old, they were not going to sell me that magazine. So Captain Brown came up behind me and says, "Oh, you have an interest in UFOs? So do I." So he went ahead and says, "I'll take 2 of those magazines." So he got 2 of them. And of course, I felt the guy was a jerk for not selling me one. But, fine. I'll talk to my mom and dad, see if they'll pick me up one. Anyhow, he asked me if I liked root beer floats. Up to that time, I figured ice cream was good, root beer was good, but never in the same glass. Anyhow, he said, "Well, let's get us 2 root beer floats, and if you don't like it, you don't have to drink it or eat it." So I went ahead, got it, and I found out I liked root beer floats that day. Anyhow, went ahead, he said, "Understand you saw something strange here a couple days back."
Now, how did he know that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
And I said, "Yes, sir, I did." But I felt proud, and I had a big head at that time.
Yeah.
Because I had a captain from the U.S. Air Force taking me seriously when all this other time people wasn't. So I told him what I saw.
Did you tell other people after you'd seen it, like your
yes.
family and everybody?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I bet. Okay.
Well, the whole situation is you felt like you had an experience you needed to share with the world.
Right.
Up to that time, I didn't believe in UFOs.
And you were how old again?
I was 8 years old.
There you go. Okay.
UFOs didn't exist. They were things that were of the sci-fi world.
Yeah.
They weren't reality. Now I knew everything that I believed. I had to look in a different perspective now. I'd get a knock at the door sometimes. Code word would be Tabasco. I had a BA-50 bag. It had the change of uniforms, it had a 45 in there, and it had the equipment that I needed. I would grab that BA-50 bag, I would go out in the waiting staff car, go to wherever I was needed, a lot of times the staging area, close by, sometimes you'd have to get on a plane. You'd kiss the wife and kids goodbye. You didn't know if you'd ever see them again. But everybody was exposed to the same thing.
And when they took you to the staging ground or wherever you were taken, what was the purpose of your being there?
You were going out to a site either to recover debris of a UFO, to recover a craft that has crashed. My job was to do interfacing if they had any survivors.
Because they knew of you, they knew of your friendships with visitors from childhood.
Right.
And so this is telepathic communication we're talking about?
Most of the times. And that's when it was needed.
And did this occur where you actually did have telepathic interface with visitors upon demand?
Oh yeah, the entities would initiate it. And sometimes I'd be very emotional.
Now, this is not something that happened often. I heard you say in your talk that these kinds of crash sites, these things don't happen often, but they did happen.
Oh yeah, they happen. You had a real job in the military. And when these events happened, if you were in that area, then you were called up. There were people who that was their sole purpose. And these people would show up, but they would be in total control. You had other people who didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And those you felt sorry for.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them didn't know how to deal with it.
So you were specifically utilized by the crash retrieval. It was a division of some kind dealing with crash retrievals, wasn't it?
Well, the operations that did the recoveries.
Let's talk about interfacing with the others a little bit.
When you went ahead and you did the interfacing, they'd go ahead, they'd talk directly to you. When they would talk directly to you, it'd be like you were hearing it, not only in your head, but in your ears also, but nobody else could hear it. And the end result is, even more than that, you could feel the emotions they were feeling. I want to rush through that because sometimes you could feel the fear, the pain. You could feel the loss. You could feel their fear of never seeing their loved ones again. See, we see them as cartoon characters. They have societies, they have families. They are more human than what we give them credit for. I know that sounds crazy, but they are. If we look for the similarities in them and us, once that open contact takes place, if we can look at these similarities between them and us, it will make that first contact much easier.
Do you feel that that time is actually nearing?
Oh yeah, inevitably.
What are the indications to you that we're going to be seeing some kind of disclosure?
Because there are things in and near our atmosphere right now that we're never going to be able to cover up in the near future. It's going to be discovered by astronomers who have no ties with the federal government or any other government. And these people are going to want to make their findings known, not in the interest of any government or prestige, but to make it known in the interest of humanity.
Are you sharing something that you know to be true? You've gotten advanced knowledge on this. So there are going to be some events that are going to be occurring, and it's going to be out of the hands of the military and out of the hands of Congress, and this is going to be made public. There's going to be
It's going to be so
a contact
plain that
event.
even amateur astronomers are going to be picking up on it.
How far off are we looking at?
I can't even
Hard to tell
speculate,
with time, yeah.
but soon, very
Soon.
near.
And what does that mean for you? After everything you've been through, what will that day mean for you?
Peace.